we are good to go. Halfway there. Show me that little timer. There it is. We are live, everybody. Friday, October 25th. And the moment we have all been waiting for. Myself, Dave Loughran, trying to do an NBA strategy show inside of 90 minutes. This will be the biggest challenge we'll have on the entire season. Lofty, what's up?
What's going on, brother? It's good to be back. Reunited at last.
I know.
We're gonna be fine. I'm not too worried about it. Once you get these reads out of the way, I'm gonna pose a question to you at the beginning of the show, okay?
Okay.
And then we'll just get it out of the way early. But here's the good thing. This question I have is 100% applicable to the slate, and I think will actually be pretty helpful. So we'll get there when we get there.
Okay. I also have something for you. Did you notice the thumbnail on the video?
No, let me take a look.
It's the best offensive center in basketball, just in case you were curious.
You put Embiid, my man. All right, we're in business.
No.
That's weird, though. He's not on the slate.
I love
Can't
this.
be Jokic, right?
I love this so much. Love it so much. All right. As you said, we do have reads to get to, and I would be remiss if I didn't start with Yahoo Sports, the presenting sponsor of this show, of the Deeper Dive, which you were on Monday to Friday, and of the Early Bird podcast, which I believe you were on last night.
I was. It was actually a very enjoyable Early Bird. Suggest everyone go check that out each and every day. It's a good foundational, get right piece to start off your morning or to go to sleep. Put them AirPods in bed. I don't know if you do that. It's the play.
I don't.
Okay. Oh, I put one in. So if I need to turn over, I'm seriously and truly addicted to technology. It's bad, but pop something on there, pass out, and then wake up in the middle of the night with AirPods scattered across the bed.
See, I can fall asleep in like 30 seconds. So I just turn the white noise machine on next to my face, and then it's morning.
I can't. It takes me some time.
I have a little help, but we'll get it. You know what I'm talking about. We'll get out of here on that one. Yahoo. Fantastic sponsor. I am dropping the link to Emacs Cash Building Blocks article. This is yesterday's article. He puts out a new one every day. But there's some information for signing up at Yahoo in that article. If you use the promo code AWESEMO when signing up, you can get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports Rewards points. They've got fantastic contests for basically every style of player. If you're playing 150, you can do that now. They have CSV imports. A lot of their stuff is just 10 max entries. They have lower management fees than anybody else in the industry. Sometimes they're running contests with no management fee whatsoever. I've been playing their baller contest each NFL Sunday. It's the first thing that I enter. Highly recommended. Check out what EMAC has to say regarding Yahoo at the top of the article. And then if you want to just sign up at Awesemo, use the promo code NBA Strategy. One big word. You can get 50% off your first month of Awesemo Plus. We are offering just a staggering amount of content across basketball, football, hockey, golf, MMA, NASCAR, soccer. It's just, I can't even name all of it. There's just so much stuff going on. So if you want to check it out, use the promo code NBA Strategy, which will get you 50% off. One of the pieces of free content that we have today, Alex's boom bust probability sheet. So I'm going to drop that link into chat now. I honestly don't know if it's been flipped over to free yet for today since we don't have projections up yet. I have it up on the screen now so people can see what it is. Alex is providing you projections, standard deviations for those projections, a ceiling and a floor projection, how often a guy is going to be a bust, the percentage of time that he's going to be a boom, which is the opposite of a bust. Ownership is right there on that table as well. Lots of information right here coming straight from the boss man himself. So go check that out, particularly when that gets flipped over. But that'll be the free piece of content for today. Yeah, Bill. Thank you, Bill, in chat. Not free yet. Bookmark that, though. It will be later. I've got lineup study pulled up for last night. Anything good for you?
A decent night. Nothing outrageous. By the way, Wookie says, Laffy looks like he's about to record a hostage video. Hit that like button. Cantor, this might be my favorite combo right here. Laffy D and Joshy E. My man. Much appreciated. And the truth says, hope everyone has 2.5 hours to burn. Well, you're in luck, guy, because we have a hard out at 11 a.m. Eastern.
And let's be clear here. We are hitting that 11 o'clock hard out. There's no way we're coming in early.
Exactly.
Just not happening.
That was a decent night. What about you?
Not great. Not great. I would say it's the worst night I've had of the 3 so far, but I don't feel all that bad. I had a lot of exposure to the Warriors. No, actually, my boy, D'Angelo Russell.
Okay.
Didn't go all that well.
Maybe people will finally realize that Marcus Chris, despite any preseason hype, is still not good at basketball. And I had some, don't get me wrong.
So did
that guy stinks, man. He stinks.
He does. I had a ton of Russ, which ultimately played out pretty well, but just
wasn't
more enough.
Harden, as a matter of fact.
Same. Maybe we should have just had whatever Sonic App 831 had, played a single bullet into the big jam and won $100,000.
Bro, is he a subscriber?
Sonic, I have no idea. Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, we've never heard of him, right?
Not that I know of. Uh-oh.
That lineup was outrageous. Okay. Just want to throw it out there. I don't know if you've actually looked at it yet.
I am now.
Okay. I looked at it last night and I screenshotted it. Thank God you reminded me because of how ridiculous it was. All right. Look, congratulations to you, big guy. But you have it pulled up, right?
I do.
He had Langston Galloway.
1% owned Langston Galloway, I might add.
What's up?
1% owned Langston Galloway.
1% at Langston Galloway. Glenn Robinson, I think, was actually like 12%. He had Zubats, who had 35 fantasy points. It gets better, though. And then he had Ersan Ilyasova as well. So, I mean, that's crazy.
For a single bullet. That is really difficult to do. Really difficult to do. Wow, 20 people rostered Giannis's brother in this contest yesterday.
Right, man. Look, congratulations. That's a big win. But I could have simulated a million different scenarios with however many lineups, and I don't see any way I get there.
I'm not entirely sure that I can get there in 150. So to get there on one is a hell of a spot. I don't even know what to say. Langston Galloway was in 540 lineups out of 51,000.
What about Ersan?
More 1,200.
Okay.
But hey, that guy's got $99,990 more dollars than he had yesterday. Meanwhile, I don't. So, way to go, Sonic App.
By the way, on a slate like that, I don't blame anyone for playing like a Langston Galloway or an Ersan, or whoever. But the idea that all of those guys together ended up, coming through. But the thing is, when you look at a slate like yesterday, when DeAndre Bembry and Marcus Chris are like the two popular value options, you're not really risking a ton by trying to be different.
That's very true. Chad is letting us know the boss man Alex Baker said to play Galloway to get different on the 4 p.m. game plan stream.
There you have it.
It's always good to know. Let's see how much Langston Galloway the old boss man had. We'll see how shit my money looked in this one too. I was like those days. Let's see. Are we going to see green or red? I'm assuming red. Yeah, red on both. But that's not anything to go crazy about. Most owned guy yesterday on the slate, Andre Drummond. Adam had 100% Drummond yesterday.
I know.
A lot of Drummond. They took very different. Adam and Alex had very different stands on Curry. Adam was over by 50%. Alex only had 16%. So put one in the
How
win
much
column.
Giannis did Alex have? I think that might explain a bit because Adams, of the top guys, he had a lot of. From what he told us during the show, he had a lot of Drummond, a lot of Curry, and a lot of Harden, and he was underweight on Westbrook and Giannis. Or maybe not underweight on Giannis. I think he had like 40% or so.
They both had roughly 60.
On Giannis?
Yeah.
Okay, so then he made some adjustments before lock.
Yeah, I did not have nearly 60, so that one stung when he went for 70. Thanks.
Dude, Westbrook was on pace to play like less than 30 minutes, and I was nervous. Yeah. And then I think he played 15 minutes to close out the game.
I had like 55 or 60% Westbrook. I just didn't have enough Giannis to like buoy that.
Yeah. And Giannis got off to a bit of a rough start.
Yeah.
He's Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he's good.
He'll fill that sheet out in some way. Biggest bust last night, Curry and Draymond. Adam ended up with 0 Draymond.
Yep.
I guess he just couldn't put the pieces together last night. Highest value.
He also was injured.
Yeah.
He got that elbow injury, which looked like it was super strange. Like it just got brushed up against him when he was trying to set a pick.
I thought he would have been fine.
And then when he returned, he was really in a lot of pain.
It was very noticeable. That's true too. Didn't go well for the Warriors. Zubac, 10 value, highest value play on the slate. Ilyasova, Patrick Patterson, Eric Pascal. Those are the highest values last night. That's whatever. Wes Matthews.
Zubac was a good play last night.
Yeah.
Because it's very unlikely that he's going to play 11 minutes again and Harold's going to play 38. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at a spot like that, I think Zubac was a perfectly reasonable play.
Especially against Golden State, who are, as of right now, devoid of like a lot of quality in their front court.
Dude, they do not look good. Let me tell you. I watched that game up until it was over, right? Like with a few minutes gone in the fourth quarter. And watch, like Kevon Looney looked fine. But man, there were a lot of guys out there that if I won't even say a casual fan, if you really like basketball, there were probably 5 or 6 guys that came off the bench for the Warriors last night that you never heard of or have no idea what they look like at the least.
Yeah, it's a very different team. I mean, if I'm reading down the value list, points per dollar actually achieved. Eric Pascal, Jacob Evans, Glenn Robinson, Amari Spellman, Marquise Chris.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's brutal. D'Angelo Russell, 33.5. Could have used a little bit more there, brother. That's what I get. I deserve it. I shouldn't go heavy on D'Angelo Russell after beating him up last year.
Oh, yeah. You hated D-Russ.
I just think he's overrated. Oh, well, what are you going to do? He got paid. He got that paper. That's all that matters. All right. We need to get into this. 12 minutes in. We have, what?
9 games.
We have 78 minutes to get through 9 games.
So let me pose my question to you and get it out of the way.
Hit me.
I think it's relevant.
Okay.
Excuse me. So each and every year, there are a lot of bad basketball teams, right? And there's a difference between bad basketball teams and bad basketball teams that make for great opponents in terms of DFS. Like Memphis at times has been bad, but they're still not a great team to play against because defensively they're not terrible and they play at a very slow pace. Not even of what we've seen, but I take what we've seen and what we are projecting for this season. We've seen a lot of moving pieces. We've seen teams like Charlotte run out lineups of complete, faceless men. Who do you think are the bottom 5 teams this season or the top 5 teams to play guys against, whether it be defensive rating, lack of talent, whether it be pace of play? Who would you say they are?
So we're saying the teams you want to play against that are also bad?
Yeah.
Okay. The Knicks, for sure. They're just a train wreck.
Right. Because there's been some turnover from last season.
Yeah.
For sure.
The Wizards.
Yeah.
There's just not enough there, and they're going to play relatively quick. I don't think Phoenix is any good. They're going to look better just because they have like more players, but that is not a defensive team. I mean, Ayton is really bad defensively. He's out for whatever, probably. So, but either way, Devin Booker, not exactly like a staunch defender either. Ricky Rubio hasn't been a good defender in like 5 years. So I would say the Suns would be one.
What about Charlotte?
I don't think they're going to play fast enough.
I didn't either, but that game has a 228 total today.
That's true. Let me look at that. Yeah, it is the second biggest total on the slate. Wait, no, I'm looking at a different game. I have the highest total in there right now, actually. That might be a little bit more about Minnesota, but yeah, if they're going to be playing at that sort of rate, then yeah, Charlotte has to be talked about. And then, I mean, the Hawks really aren't going to stop anybody, and if Trae Young is pushing the pace, that's going to be a really good spot for opposing teams.
I like those. I think that's probably the same list I would have made as well.
Yeah, like
Lakers played a really, really slow pace in that first game, by the way.
Yeah.
97.
Old man LeBron.
Yeah, man.
Well, speaking of slow-paced teams, I don't get the sense that this is going to be a real quick one. You ready to dive in?
Let's do it, baby.
Boston Celtics, Toronto Raptors. 109.25 implied total for Boston, 106.25 for the Raptors. So 3-point favorites for Boston at home against the defending champs. Let me see if we've got ownership yet, just so we have an extra talking point. Last update, 28 seconds. Thank you. Ooh, Yahoo ownership
Fantastic.
also now posted. I'll need to add that to the old sheet. I didn't know when that was going to get started. Rashawn Holmes is the chalk on DraftKings, so it's going to be and FanDuel. Going to be a great day. I pasted these things in the wrong spot. Fantastic. Rashawn Holmes. Oh, brother. It's going to be one of those slates already.
Oh, man. We already got like significant injuries in the front court of 4 teams.
Everybody just keeps breaking fingers, too.
Yeah.
Damn dainty
rough.
fingers.
Opened up a ton of value, though. I'll tell you that much already. I mean, usually you don't have this type of value. You're looking at like these garbage wing players, that unless they're scoring 30 like Luke Kennard, probably letting you down.
Okay, so now I have ownership wrapped in here. Boston and Toronto. We'll start on the Boston side. 2 guys in double digits in exposure or in ownership on both sites. Kemba Walker, 8,200 on FanDuel, 7,800 on DK, 14-1 FantasyDraft, 37 Yahoo. And Daniel Tice, minimum salary on FanDuel, 3,200 on DK, very low salary across the board, just because. No Enes Kanter today, so we're going to get a lot of the Time Lord and a lot of Daniel Tice. What do you think of those 2 guys?
Yeah, I mean the spot last game against Philly was tough. Williams had 4 fouls in 11 minutes, and Enes Kanter didn't play the entirety of that one. So I think it's still uncertain what we're going to see. But yeah, Williams didn't come in until the second quarter. Daniel Tice came in the first quarter, subbing in for Kanter after 4 minutes and 46 seconds. And then Kanter returned. And then looking at this one, Kanter did not return. Let's see. He left after 2.5 minutes in the fourth. And who replaced him? Daniel Tice replaced him. So, and then didn't close the game out. But that probably, we don't have a starter confirmed yet, right?
Not that I'm aware of. I also haven't looked.
Yeah, neither have I. But I think I would have seen it. Robert Williams had 2 personal fouls in the first. And then he came back and had 1 and then had 1 later in the game. So I guess that probably didn't affect his play at all.
Yeah.
So just based on the rotation here, it's hard to tell because one of them played 10 and then Williams played 11. If I had to guess, I think you'd see a pretty even split at center around 24-24.
I gave it 24-24 as well. If you told me that it was like 26-22 Tice, I wouldn't be surprised. He's more likely to be able to stay on the floor. Here's the most interesting piece of it to me. Tice is at 23% ownership on FanDuel, 26 on DK. Robert Williams is at 3 and 4. Unless we hear something different, like that's a very obvious GPP pivot.
Absolutely. And Robert Williams actually has some upside.
Yeah.
Because he's actually capable of blocking shots. Guys that are decent enough at shot blocking. I really like them and defensive stats because it bolsters that upside. He averaged 5 blocks per 36 last season. Yeah. Granted, he didn't play a ton of minutes, but he was a +1 fantasy point per minute guy, and he was a double per 36 player. Again, only averaged 9 minutes per game. But I definitely think that if he were to play 24 minutes here, you could see at basically minimum salary, you could see that 25, 28 fantasy point game for sure. I'm not saying that isn't the case with Tice, but like you said, if Williams is going to have no ownership at all, maybe because he's coming off the bench and Tice is starting, that could very much be the case. I would assume I'd have a lot more Williams than Daniel Tice.
Yeah.
I'd have Tice too. But.
Sure. Yeah, I think we're on the same page there. Tice is a power forward on FanDuel, so be aware of that. Robert Williams is a center, so you can get a center for 3,700 if you want to just take a shot. Yeah, he's a lot like Mitchell Robinson for the Knicks. Like you're hoping you get a bunch of blocks and you're hoping the dude stays on the floor. Do you have any interest in any of the Boston Wings?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
There are a lot of quality options on this slate. Small forward continues to lack anything positive, but I still have a lot of respect for Toronto's defense. It doesn't mean that I'm not willing to roster players from the opposition, of course, but I guess I wish we had a little bit more information on what this team looked like with Enes Kanter off the floor. He and Al Horford aren't similar enough for me to just throw that out there. But like, is Tatum in play? Yeah, Tatum's fine, but I don't see myself getting the Hayward or Jaylen Brown or Marcus Smart or any of those guys tonight. What about you?
Nothing outside of like your standard issue, like 2 to 3% of people. There's nobody. I don't know how to pick between them, you know?
Yeah.
They're all super similar from a DFS perspective. I don't really think there's much rhyme or reason to like why you would want to go to one of those guys, especially when they're all priced as they should be. Like I would say that I probably like Jaylen Brown the most because he's the cheapest, but I don't know. I don't really have any interest in these guys.
Neither do I.
I wish I did.
Do you have interest in Kemba Walker here against Toronto?
Yeah, I guess I do. I got a lot on my first crunch, actually. I just refreshed my dummy now that ownership is in there. I got quite a bit of Kemba, more so than the field. I don't know that I love that, but at the same time, you don't happen to have Kemba's usage in game 1 in front of you, do you?
Literally just pulled it up.
Perfect.
So game 1 usage for Kemba against the Sixers, a team that he has crushed in the past, but very different look. Now that defense is going to be scary.
Yes.
Yeah, 27.7%. So say 28% usage for Kemba Walker in that game.
Okay.
10% assists. He only had 2 assists in 34 minutes. That's pretty uncharacteristic of him, but it was a bad game. He did get up 18 shots and 6 3-point attempts though.
So I just I knocked his usage back a little bit. Still having a little bit too. It's all a big calibration exercise to start the season. So I had to knock him a little bit back since he's very clearly not just the guy on the team like he was in Charlotte. So now my Kemba exposure on my dummy crunch is relatively neutral to the field. I got a lot of Daniel Tice, a lot of Robert Williams, and a lot of Jaylen Brown. The Jaylen Brown one just makes me think that I need to look into the projection because I probably have him too high. If I'm getting 34% Jaylen Brown right now, and he's at 6, that's the first thing that I know that I need to look into. But for right now, and this is FanDuel, by the way, not DraftKings. I'm only playing on FanDuel as of right now. So there are like positional quirks to take into account here. Things just get weird at some spots. But for right now, I guess I'm going to advocate at least a little bit of Jaylen Brown until I look into it.
Okay. It was strange to me that Enes Kanter had only 15% usage in that game. Generally, he's pretty involved offensively because you're certainly not running him out there for his defensive acumen.
No.
But yeah, Jaylen Brown, 16% usage in the 21 minutes he played. It was Tatum who led this team, matter of fact. By the way, if you're looking at NBA stats and you're looking at Basketball Reference, you're going to have different numbers.
Yep.
Their usage is always different, but because Kemba is 25% on NBA.com and 28% on Basketball Reference. But Jason Tatum, according to NBA.com, 28.7% usage, played 37 minutes. I do think with Kyrie gone, Kemba's a good player, but he's not going to totally fill those shoes. And Jason Tatum's another year older, another year into his career. So I think you're going to get a lot of pretty solid games from Tatum this year. And I wouldn't be surprised to see his price tag come up quite a bit over the coming weeks.
Cleaning the Glass has Kemba at 26% for that game.
So it's in the middle of what
Yeah.
I don't know.
What was the final of this game? 105. Yeah, so like they do so Cleaning the Glass will drop. They'll get rid of garbage time stats. So they're always, for me, Cleaning the Glass is always going to be like the spot that I want to go to because they're going to throw everything that's meaningless into the garbage. Just all what I want to see. So all right, so that's the Boston side. Let's talk about Toronto. Fred VanVleet, 6,600 on FanDuel, 5,700 on DraftKings, went crazy in the opener. No one on the Raptors is in double digits in exposure on either FanDuel or DK. Are you looking to get to any Toronto today?
I'm a huge fan of Pascal Siakam. He's really, really good. But I don't know if I get there. And one of the reasons is there are some players priced around him that I really like. And I think with Boston, they actually did a pretty solid job against the Philadelphia 76ers offense. I mean, it was a brutal start. The Sixers missed their first, I think, 16 shots outside of the paint, which is not good.
No.
Boston's still going to be a solid defensive unit. They're going to miss Al Horford, no question. But I definitely think this is a much less easy matchup for Siakam than the New Orleans Pelicans was. But look, he's very good. He's going to lead this team in a lot of categories. I just think I'll get to a few other guys in that same price range before I get to him.
Yeah, I did not get to anything really from Toronto. 14% Kyle Lowry is all I have as of right now. Again, something that I want to dig into, but 7,600 on FanDuel. I'm not super worried about that. I got one share of Pascal Siakam.
Okay.
And that's it. Like, nobody in volume. They've got a 106.25 implied total. I mean, outside of just center defense, Boston's got a lot of really quality defensive wings to gum this up. There are, I think, much better spots than Toronto. Fantastic game. I'd love to watch it. Two quality teams, but from a DFS perspective, not really getting there on the Raptors.
No, I don't think it's a spot that you need to get to either.
Yeah.
And yeah, Philly shot 24% from three in that game. It was rough. They just completely contained Boston on the defensive end. So, like I said, I think Boston's defense is still a unit to be respected.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised to see this game go under the 216 total, 215.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised to see that. It could be just a slog fest.
It will be the game that I turn on, though. That much I know.
Yeah, I like the game.
Hornets and Timberwolves. 112 implied total for the Hornets, 117 for the Wolves. 5-point underdogs at home in game 2 of their season. God, they're dreadful. I'm going to have to fix some names here. Terry Rozier, 23% ownership on FanDuel right now, 6,600. Same price on DK, 13% owned. Miles Bridges is at 20% ownership as well. If I take a look at Charlotte, I got a little bit of Marvin Williams, a little bit of Terry Rozier. So Nick Batum broke a finger. He's going to be out for a bit. They didn't play Willie Hernangomez or Bismack Biyombo in the first game. It looks like Marvin Williams is going to get most of the backup center run. So I gave him all of the backup center minutes for today, plus some minutes at the 4. Cody Zeller played a monstrous amount of minutes in game 1, so he should be due for an injury anytime soon. What do you want to do with the Hornets? Does PJ Washington shoot the lights out again in his debut?
Well, the thing is, he didn't even shoot the lights out. He just shot a lot. He was 9 for 17. He was 7 for 11 from 3-point range.
That's what I mean.
But yeah. What I'm saying though is it's not like he went off for 9 for 10, and we're not going to see him get any opportunities again. What's really interesting about this Charlotte team is that, first of all, Terry Rozier and the price point that we're getting on him across the industry, to me, it's bizarre. Like, it's just no reason this guy should be priced that high. Yeah. He's never been a high usage guy. He's a decent enough passer. But like in Boston, we loved him because he'd be 4,500
exactly
when Kyrie Irving would go down.
That's the big thing. Like, people probably missed that. He's like, oh, I remember. Like, he should be way higher. He was great in those games. It's like, yeah, right. You remember that because you played him at a discount.
Exactly. And let's also not forget that he actually had a quality team built around him to actually help him out and take some pressure off and make it so potential assists turn into assists and not bricks. So I don't get the price on it, but I will say this much. I talked about this on the Early Bird podcast with Dan Strafford. Dwayne Bacon might be, at a price where you're like, okay, that's a little sketchy, but a lot of guys on this team are like that because there's no clear cut, go-to guy. but all of them are starters.
Yeah.
Dwayne Bacon had 33% usage rate in that first game. 33% usage. He played 33 minutes and was just heavily involved in the offense throughout that entire game. He shot 8 for 21. This game's got a 228.5 total. I don't think Bacon is that bad of a play. I mean, look, I'll be completely frank with you. I don't know if this guy's going to be good or not, but
I think he's decent.
Yeah, I think he is. But I mean, I don't think he's going to be. I don't know if he's going to be a star.
No. He's like a rotation guy,
right? But Terry Rozier is not like your go-to scorer on this team. We got to get that out of our heads. He's going to be probably at the end of the season a 21% usage player. Dwayne Bacon could run away with that opportunity. And if that's the case, I do have some interest in him. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be more likely to get to Bacon here. He's expensive though. I can't imagine that 30% usage carries on. Like for me and all, I have him estimated for 21%. He's always been like a relatively neutral guy from a usage perspective. So paying attention to that, if he really is going to be in like the even just 26, 27 range, that's a massive boost to his like underlying stats.
Well, I mean, here's why. Look, I agree. I'm not saying he's going to be a 30% usage guy, but think about it, man. This might not have ever been like a good Hornets team, but they did have Kemba Walker. They did have Jeremy Lamb, who when Kemba Walker was off the floor would soak up a lot of those opportunities. They did have some players. They really don't anymore. So what I'm saying is it's not crazy to think that he could inherit those responsibilities and actually turn out to be a decent enough fantasy option. How decent? I don't know. Are you paying $7K for the guy 2 weeks from now? Probably not. But right. 57 on DraftKings to me is not crazy in a high total game against a Minnesota team that people will always want to give Robert Covington all this credit as a defender. He is not a very good on-ball defender. He's
very
not.
True. Very true.
He's good at getting his hands in passing lanes and disrupting offenses. But if you're one-on-one with Robert Covington, just assuming that he's guarding Bacon, it's not that tough of a matchup.
No, not at all. You ready to take our first tangent?
Oh, man, it's 10:03 already, bro. Go ahead.
So Bill in YouTube chat said, and this is obviously a dig, I believe, but that's fine. It's allowing me to get to this. He said, I thought you'd be a sausage guy, Josh, not bacon. What is, I'm going to take this a different direction. What is your favorite breakfast meat? I'm asking you because there is a breakfast meat in our neck of the woods that is relatively popular that doesn't really get a lot of play elsewhere in the nation.
Are you talking about pork roll?
Well, that's fine too. Also, I wouldn't even think about pork roll, but yes, also fantastic. Now I was going Scrapple.
Oh, you're a Scrapple guy, huh?
A little bit. So I am more of a sausage guy than a bacon guy. Don't really like saying that out
patties?
Loud. I don't have a preference. Links if the patty is bad, but which sounds stupid. If it's like good sausage, then patty for sure.
Yeah. Dude, if you ever had McDonald's hotcakes and sausage,
yes, incredible.
It's actually really good.
Styrofoam tray, amazing.
Yeah, the butter's already melted in the plastic.
Mike Crowther, Scrapple is nasty. Get out.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'd go with. Look, I don't have a favorite. I love bacon. I love sausage links. I love the patties.
I want it all.
Scrapple. I love pork roll. Canadian bacon on an egg Benedict.
Just say ham, man. Just say ham.
All right.
It's just ham. It's ham.
We call it that. We call it that Canadian bacon around here, man.
Yeah, that's ham. Kyle is
Canadian
saying,
ham.
WTF is Scrapple. So Scrapple is like the breakfast meat if you turned a hot dog into a breakfast meat. It is all of the absolute worst pieces of the animal. It's all the leftovers.
Hot dog shit out all the meat it didn't want.
Yes. Yeah. It is, hoof and tail and eyeballs and all sorts of just fantastic pieces. But much more of a Northeast.
You might get a piece of a testicle in there.
Yeah, for sure. But all of the genitalia. And on that note, Tom, we'll keep it going. Off to Minnesota we go. Sorry, I had to take the tangent.
That's why tangents are bad, but they're phenomenal at the same time.
Zach says we call Scrapple liver mush on this side of North Carolina. Yeah, I don't see a lot of Scrapple down here.
You know what? That does make it a bit more appealing.
Yeah, I mean,
liver mush.
It's also fantastic, by the way. It doesn't get the due that it deserves. But Minnesota, Karl Anthony Towns, 11-5 on FanDuel, 10-8 on DK, 19-1 on FantasyDraft, $48 on Yahoo. Not really getting all that much ownership. I mean, like he is, but 9-game slate. 16 on FanDuel, 20 on DraftKings. Just to put it out there, on my first crunch, I got roughly neutral to the field, 17% Towns. Any reason you don't want Towns today?
There are no reason I don't want Towns. There might be reasons I don't get as much Towns as I'd like. Nikola Jokic is 9,300 on DraftKings. That's going to be tough to get away from. But Doncic is 92. Here's what's interesting. I don't even know if it'll be hard to get Towns and Jokic or Towns and Doncic. I haven't made lineups yet, but I with the type of value that we're likely going to have on this slate, given all the injuries, you can probably play 2 high-end studs above 9K, I'll say on DraftKings, and do it with relative ease.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. No one is going to look at this spot and be like, don't know if I can get to Towns here with a 117 total against the garbage Hornets. There's just a lot of other options, and 10-8 is appropriately priced, I guess, for DraftKings right now, with the amount of guys that are priced down. So don't feel bad if you get Karl Anthony Towns in a lineup, but he's probably more of an anti-optimizer play today than anything else, because he's just not going to be that sort of point per dollar guy. But he's fantastic.
What do
with
we
a
have
ceiling.
His ownership at?
20.
Okay.
Let me just sort this down by center. So of the centers, Jokic at 27, Rashawn Holmes at 33. You've got Tice at 26, Favors at 26, and then you get Towns, Whiteside, and Thomas Bryant all at 20. AD at 18. But I mean, Towns is $800 more expensive than AD. $1,500 more expensive than Jokic. It's just it's a tougher price tag to get to. But he's fantastic.
Tougher price tag. But if you want to do it, I don't think it's going to be that hard. Just one more time, the type of value that we're probably getting is pretty big. Now, it also depends on who's in and who's out, but just some notable ones. Enes Kanter's out. Who is it? Buddy Hield's also questionable. That could change a lot. And Marvin Bagley's out for a while.
Yeah.
It is going to open stuff up. So it's going to be easier to play top price guys than it normally would.
Teague and Wiggins both in the low double digits in exposure. As of right now, I got a ton of Teague on my first crunch, way more than the field. He's 6,200 on FanDuel. That's probably something that I'm going to need to look into at least a little bit, but it's a great spot in what could be a defensively challenged Hornets team. So I'm happy to get to a little bit of Teague, but the amount that I got in the 30s, probably not necessary.
No, not necessary, but understandable. I don't have an issue with it. In the highest projected total game of the slate, you could certainly do worse at that price point. There are a lot of guys that are probably quite a bit overpriced on a slate like this. And while Teague didn't have a great game against Minnesota, he did play 35 minutes. Checking now to see how many of those minutes came in overtime. So,
probably 5.
Assuming he played all of them. Yeah. So he played all but 15 seconds. So 30 minutes in regulation. Keep that in mind. You're probably not getting 35 out of Teague, but he was coming back from a minor injury, right?
Yeah, I might have to. I have him in for 32 right now. I'm going to drop, since I know that I'm getting so much, I'm going to drop him to 30 and give Napier those other 2 minutes, which I think will calm those exposures a bit. If I do that, he drops to 24% there, and then I feel a little bit better. Sometimes you're just going to take a stand on guys in great matchups.
Sure. There were people talking about Robert Covington in chat. Yeah, I don't have an issue with Rocco here. I don't I don't think he's spectacular by any stretch because he usually never is, but he is rebounding well. We saw that in the preseason. Those
Should get some
rebounding out.
turnovers.
What's up?
He's going to cause some turnovers if he can be on
Yep.
the other side of those steals. Like this is the kind of spot you like Covington more against a team that's bad.
Yeah, and a pace up spot where Charlotte's taking bad risks with the ball. I get it. I don't have an issue with that.
Okay.
The question I have for you is Wiggins. I mean, this guy's been a disaster from a fantasy standpoint ever since he stepped foot on an NBA basketball court.
Yeah, he's just look. He shot 27 times in the first game. Now, let's just assume that a couple of those happened in overtime, but the guy's going to shoot. If you catch him on the day where he shoots like 60% from the field, you're happy to have him. I have a little bit because it's the Hornets, because they're not very good. I'm never really happy about it, but the volume will be there. He just doesn't do anything else.
Right.
0 assists in 36 minutes.
That I know, it's brutal.
So bad. He shot 2 free throws after shooting 27 times from the field. Come on, Andrew.
Yeah, and it's not like you're going to get quality rebounding totals from him either.
He actually got 8 rebounds, which is incredible.
I know, but
that's
not
normal.
Right, exactly. On a consistent basis, I have trouble believing that's going to be the case. He had let's see, 4 potential assists, 0 actual assists in that game. So, that's great. And then rebounding, I would assume that he probably had like 9 rebound opportunities and converted 8 of them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He had 13 actually. That's not bad.
31% usage.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, something to keep in mind. To Brooklyn we go. Battle of New York City. Brooklyn Nets, New York Knicks. 2 teams going in slightly different directions. 117 implied total for the Nets, 108 for the Knicks. Can't wait to talk about the Knicks. That'll be fun. We'll start on the Brooklyn side. Kyrie went bonkers, went for 50 in the opener, missed the buzzer beater to win the game. 9,700 on FanDuel, 9K on DraftKings. I had a bunch of him opening night. He's at 15% on FanDuel, 8% on DraftKings. If I take a look right now to see what I got, I ended up with 20. More than okay with having a little Kyrie Irving here against whatever it is these Knicks are.
Right. And I do think we got to draw the differences on DraftKings and FanDuel.
Yeah.
One of the reasons for that is when it comes to positional eligibility, you've got Kyrie Irving at point guard in both, of course, but with a few of the multi-position eligibility guys, it makes it a little bit easier to get elsewhere on DraftKings.
Yeah.
But on FanDuel, Luka is point guard eligible and not shooting guard eligible, and he's basically the same price as Irving. So the way I see, and Damian Lillard's got a matchup against Sacramento.
Yeah.
So the way I see it really is, I like Luka more here than Irving.
Same.
But I still do like Irving quite a bit. The reason I like Luka Doncic more than Irving is because Kyrie Irving is going to have. He's not an elite distributor. He's a good enough playmaker, but he is a shoot first guy. And a lot of these other high priced like elite studs at point guard are able to do everything and drop 40 points or 50 points on a good day. Irving can have some of those big games, but I just think that Luka, in terms of can he give you the 35, 10, and 12 game, he could do that a lot more often than Irving. And when Irving isn't scoring 50, he's not always guaranteed to mitigate the poor shooting. But I like him against New York a lot. I just like Luka more.
Sure. Only other guy I got a lot of went and had himself a day in the opener, Taurean Prince. He's not picking up any ownership. Played 41 minutes in the opener.
Crazy.
Just lopped 5 off for OT. Still played 36 minutes in regulation.
Crazy.
Not getting any ownership. He's 5,600 on FanDuel, 5,600 on DraftKings as well. He's a guy that I got roughly 20% of, and I see no reason to be like upset about that on FanDuel for 5,600.
I really thought coming into last year that Taurean Prince was going to take a huge step forward.
Yeah.
Was on record saying that, and it didn't work out the way I was expecting. I thought, on a team like Atlanta, you'd have every opportunity in the world to get it done. It wasn't the case. Maybe coming to Brooklyn is what can help him. What's strange to me though, Josh, is Kenny Atkinson was the guy last year that was running wild rotations where nobody'd play more than 28 minutes in some games.
Yeah, not quite in the opener.
No, not at all. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, 5,600 at a small forward position on FanDuel that is always just a garbagey crapshoot. I'll take my chances. I have him in for 32 minutes. I don't think that is like any. I'm not going to go crazy and start giving him 36 right out of the gate, but he is there for, and I think that he has the least amount of competition on the roster. I mean, outside of like obviously Kyrie Irving is going to play whatever he wants. that one doesn't count.
18 rebounding opportunities in that game.
Yeah,
pretty impressive.
Yeah, it went for 15 and 11. Just involved in all facets of the game.
I don't know if that rebounding continues.
Yeah.
Really, how much is he going to play alongside DeAndre Jordan would be one question. He played a few minutes next to him, but yeah, if you got him next to Jared Allen, I like that a whole lot more than playing him next to DeAndre Jordan. Absolutely.
Absolutely agree. DeAndre Jordan is not a favorite of mine. Do you want any Allen here?
No. I just don't think you need to get there.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page. Only guys I really got with any volume were Prince and Kyrie. Little bits of LeVert and Dinwiddie, but nothing too crazy. Do you have any crazy LeVert thoughts, or do we want to move to the Knicks?
No, sorry. Let me just restate on Allen. I think he played 31 minutes in regulation before overtime.
Yeah.
Right? 31. If that's at least, I have a sour taste in my mouth from how erratic his playing time was last year. If Allen does play around 30 minutes a night, he's actually not going to be a bad player. He averaged over a fantasy point per minute last season. To be exact, on DraftKings, he averaged 1.06 fantasy points per minute. If we can get that consistent run, he could actually be a very interesting play here. And especially if Mitchell Robinson's out, not hauling in all those rebounds and block shots on the defensive end, make him more appealing too.
Yeah, it got pointed out in chat. I do want to touch on it. Jared Allen, $17 on Yahoo. I like that price tag.
17, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
So I'm expecting Mitchell Robinson to play for the Knicks. Alonzo Trier started at point guard in the opener, played like 6 minutes, and then basically didn't see the floor again. I don't know how to project these guards. I'd rather just not have Knicks, at least in their backcourt. I just truly don't know what to do. The guy that I got the most of from the Knicks is Marcus Morris, 5,500. He's the guy that I think just has to play a lot because of his positional availability at small forward and power forward. Got a little bit of Julius Randle since he's the only guy that I think actually has talent for the Knicks. What the hell do we do with this garbage team?
I don't.
Trier, seriously, opening night, you're like, okay, I'm going to start Trier. He basically didn't see the floor after his first rotation. Like, I didn't project him for minutes. I didn't even have him playing. Neither did Alex. It's just like, how does that happen? And then he essentially didn't play.
I know. He played what? Yeah, 7 minutes total.
Yeah. He came back in for like a minute.
The one good thing is, though, look at the minutes for the rest of this team. I mean, Elfrid Payton off the bench got some run.
He played well, too.
He played well. 21. I like Elfrid Payton, man. I think he's a pretty solid player. Or as people say, he's a good little player. He's like a foot taller than most of you saying that. Marcus Morris played 39 minutes. Bobby Portis, big fan of Blobby Bobby, played 33 minutes. Yeah. Randall played 35. RJ Barrett played 37. That is a really important piece of this puzzle, because if these guys are actually, if Fizdale's actually going to start running guys for consistently solid minutes, they can be a garbage team, but they can still be a good fantasy team.
Yeah.
And that's in the end, that's all I care about. I drew a comparison to the Sixers the other day. Remember like 2013 and so, where you had guys like Tony Roten winning tournaments each night? It's possible.
Henry Sims, shout out.
Henry Sims, yep. I really like Julius Randle here. I
Sure.
respect Taurean Prince as a defender, but Randall's got a big size advantage in terms of weight and being able to body him, back him down. I think Randall is a real solid option.
Yeah.
If he's going to play another 35 minutes, I like him even more.
Yeah, I got roughly neutral to the field, like 15%. He's the only guy that I feel comfortable with when I'm rostering someone from the Knicks because Randall is just going to get his. That's just the way that he plays.
Good passer, too.
Yeah. I'm a big Julius Randle fan. I don't know what to do with the point guards. I'm ignoring all of them. It could be anybody. I don't really know how to handle it. If Mitchell Robinson is playing, then Bobby Portis is off the table. There's just not going to be enough minutes there. I don't know if they put Taj Gibson on ice. I don't really know how that's all going to shake out. So really, Randle is the only front court guy that I think is viable, depending on what you think of like Marcus Morris's positional classification. And then there's no way I want RJ Barrett.
No, neither do I. Fizdale said that even if Mitchell was active in that first game, Portis probably would have started. But you have to assume that it would have come in somewhere around like 26, 22, 24, 24. And that's a bit concerning.
I gave Portis 26 for today. Mitchell Robinson 26 as well.
If Morris is going to consistently play like 34, 35 minutes in regulation, he played 39 minutes. Yeah. He sat out for only 2 minutes of the first half. I don't see it sustaining, but I think 35 minutes per game would have to at least put him in play at a cheap price point. He's not overpriced.
Dude, I gave him 32 when I got him in 22% of my lineups.
Right, there you go. Right, so exactly.
A lot of rebounds to be had on this Knicks team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nobody's going to make a damn shot. It's not like Dennis Smith Jr. and Elfrid Payton are notoriously good shooters. Wayne Ellington's going to play 8 minutes. He's the only guy that could get a bucket from
this Knicks team is going to frustrate us this season, I think.
Per the New York Post, per T McBee, so I trust this, the Knicks are expected to debut Elfrid Payton as their new starting point guard Friday. Doesn't shock me. He was like plus 10 in the time that he was on the floor. Give him a little bit of a reward. I gave Payton 22 minutes. Look, I can't. I got to see it. They have too many dudes.
Yeah.
Shout out Kadeem Allen. Where you at, bud?
To who?
Kadeem Allen.
Oh, yeah. I have
Wilmington native.
So Elfrid Payton played, so let's see, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. He played 19 minutes in the second half. If you think that Elfrid's going to see the similar minutes as the other starters on this team, right? Barrett played 37, Randall 35, Portis 33, Marcus 39. If that's the case, then and he's starting and you feel comfortable projecting him for 33, then go for it. But like you said, I just don't know who it's going to be.
Yeah.
Trier only playing a few minutes in that game, though, is pretty telling. So at 4,600 on DraftKings, I might have some interest in Elfrid Payton if he in fact starts.
I will too. I'll have to. It has to be relatively muted because if you told me that he started and played 8 minutes and then they played Frank Ntilikina for 20, I'd be like, those Knicks.
Yeah.
I just don't know what to do with these guys.
Fizdale's not a fan of Ntilikina, though.
No, he's not, which is crazy because he played really well internationally.
I mean, he just can't shoot for shit.
I mean,
great defender, scrappy on-ball guy, but man, his shot is terrible.
I mean, a lot of people can't shoot. Brings a lot to the table on the defensive end. I'd be trying to figure it out more so than, if you're the Knicks, what are you playing for? Throw him out there, but literally, play him, or trade him.
I hear you.
Alrighty. Grizzlies and Bulls.
Ugh.
Yeah. Well, the Bulls are sneaky. 111.25 implied total for the Grizz, 110.25 for the Bulls. We'll start on the Memphis side. Ja Morant is at 10% ownership on both FanDuel and DK. He was like negative 28 plus minus in the opener. Not a great start for old Ja. Joe Val, I assume, still limited. I don't really see much on the Memphis side that stands out. I got one share of Kyle Anderson and one share of Dylan Brooks, and that's it for Memphis. Is there anything you want to talk about from the Grizzlies?
Sounds about right. Usually if depending on the minutes, Jonas Valanciunas would be interesting to me because he is a amazing fantasy player, but you're not going to get the minutes from him. We already know that he's being eased back into action, so I'm good on that. Moran had more turnovers than assists, and while I like him going forward, I think he'll be a solid fantasy guy and a good facilitator. I'm not paying that much for him. That seems crazy to me. So no, this is a team on the whole that I don't think I'll be getting to at all.
Go to the Bulls side. Lauri Markkanen went bonkers.
Crazy.
Oh, I love this dude. He's
a good little player.
Yeah, he really is. Coming into his own.
Good little player.
8,200 on FanDuel, 8K on DraftKings. And he's reasonably priced across the industry. Nobody on the Bulls getting ownership. The highest number on either site is Levine at 7%. I didn't get anything more than 4% Markkanen. Any Bulls stand out to you that you want to try to get to? They seem to all be like appropriately priced.
Yeah, they are. It's just not a game that I feel great about or think is necessary to get there. We have 9 games, and like Markkanen's very good, but I'd still rather. I think I'd still rather have Julius Randle. I really like what Markkanen does. It's still a matchup though where these guys are going to play slow, which isn't always a killer. Don't get me wrong, but it's tough to get to them because, like you said, they're not priced at a point where you're like, okay, dynamic pricing means that they're priced down for this matchup for a slow-paced game. That's not the case.
No, not at all. They are priced. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if we saw Markkanen rise to the 9s. Like, I don't think he's going to do what he did in the first game constantly, but if anybody's taking a leap and becoming like a guy, it would be Markkanen. Yeah. And so I can see him climbing, but you pretty much know what you're getting out of Zach LaVine. Otto Porter's been between 5,500 and 6,500 for 5 years. So
right.
That's just
LaVine's price is fine. I don't have a problem with it, but I'm not enamored with anything.
He's the type of guy that you are fine taking risks with because he's going to use the ball quite a bit.
Right.
That's all I've got in this game.
Yeah, look, we want to get to all of the better games too. So
yeah, and we're already with 32 minutes to go.
Yeah.
So perfect time for everybody. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. The show goes up on our podcast feed every day after the show is over, so you can get that anywhere you get your podcast, iTunes. We are now on Spotify as of yesterday, Stitcher to come, so you can find us everywhere. We do want you to drop an answer in the comments section today. Got a little bit of a question for you guys. What is the best position on the slate to pay up for on FanDuel? It's a question we ask in our strategy syllabus each day, but we're asking it again here for the public. So drop those answers into the comment section of the video when it is over. What is the best position to pay up for? For me personally, it's center. I'd love to know your thoughts, so check it out. We've got a big time list of shows today. Coming up immediately after this, 11 a.m., Chris Randone and Manny Laura looking at lineup construction for Week 8 in the NFL. We've got the Awesome Odds betting show at noon with Jordan Frank, Ben Rasa, and Nolan Kelly. We've got the Yahoo specific NFL strategy show coming up at 1 p.m. That'll be Nolan and Chris Randone. Doesn't end there. 3 p.m. Eastern today. Had to reschedule. It's coming today. On the contrary, Week 8, Chris Spags, Alex Baker, Josh Hermsmeyer, if you're not familiar with, a big-time NFL guy. I can't hear you. You're on mute.
Dog was barking. He's the air yards guy.
He is the air yards guy. He will be on the contrary today with Alex and Chris at 3 p.m. Jake will have the NHL show at 4. Alex will be behind the paywall for the Game Plan show at 4 as well. Those streams are awesome. You really want to get a look into what Alex is doing on the back end. And then Deeper Dive, 5 p.m. live before. Yeah, 5. Oh my, I can't talk today, man.
You'll make it.
I can't. I might not make it. Deeper Dive at 5, right? Or are you guys starting at 4:45?
9 games. We'll start at 5.
All right, starting at 5. Deeper Dive. Laffy and Adam. Adam will have the deep dive out today as well. And then myself and Chris Spags live before lock from 6 to 7. 8 shows plus Alex. and then early bird again tonight. It's a lot. So come check it all out.
It is a lot.
But hit that like button.
Absolutely a lot. It's all worth it though. And yeah, it's a great day of shows coming up. Hey, while you were talking, I pulled up some numbers. You know, the Grizzlies and Heat game was the fastest paced game of any games we've seen yet.
I did not know that.
Neither did I.
It's good to know.
That's pretty wild. I would just say keep an eye on this Grizzlies team. You might see, you might see a change in pace. They might look like a different team than they were before because that never really got them anywhere.
No, not at all. Yes, no Fast Eddie today on Live Before Lock, so everybody can calm down now. He will be on Saturday and Sunday. It'll be all right. You guys will be all right. All right, we've got 5 games and 29 minutes. Can we do this?
We got it.
Okay, I don't agree.
No, we're screwed. But.
Pelicans and Mavs, 115 implied total for the Pels, 112.75 for the Mavs. We will start on the Pelican side. Just a really weird game to start their season. Rotations were kind of weird. Didn't look like Melly was going to play at all, then kind of got there in minutes. I don't know what they're going to do. I've got 11 guys in here in the rotation. I don't really like it. What do we do with some of this chalk? Because some of these guys are getting ownership. Drew Holiday, 28% on FanDuel. Derek Favors at 5,700 on DK is 26% owned. Big fan of that. Lonzo Ball is in the mid-teens on both sites. JJ Redick got to double digits on DK. Brandon Ingram's price is kind of where it's supposed to be now. What do you like from the Pels?
Yeah, I'm not convinced that Derek Favors' minutes are going to be where I need them to be. You know, maybe they will be. I don't know. He had 4 fouls early in that second half in the first game. But if you look at the minutes that he played in the first half of that game, foul trouble was not an issue. And he played 13 minutes. So I guess it's reasonable to think he probably gets to 26. I'm not willing to put him at 28 yet. And another reason for that is he didn't return until overtime of that game where he played 2 minutes in the middle of it. You have 4 fouls. It doesn't mean you should be held out through regulation. He didn't come back. Now, look, that could have been a matchups thing. It's very possible. Pascal Siakam was just crushing everybody. I feel comfortable projecting him for 26. But this is a guy who's averaged 23 or fewer minutes per game in 3 of his last 4 seasons. I just can't put him up around 30.
So I gave him 28. I think that let me just pull up the popcorn machine again because it was something that I looked at because I was paying very close attention to Favors. I think they just got on a run and we're happy to continue it because I don't expect Frank Jackson to be playing almost all of the fourth quarter again. I don't expect Josh Hart to play all of the fourth quarter again. They were clearly doing something different. And I don't really know what that was, but whatever it was, I think they felt like it was working. But the way they closed that game to me is not indicative of the way that they're going to move forward for it.
I mean, yeah, Josh Hart was on a serious tear.
He played 18 straight minutes to close out the game and then didn't start overtime.
I think the concern is Alvin Gentry in the past has not been someone that just rolls with the hot hand.
Yeah.
It looked like he was more than willing to do that here. He used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He used 7 guys off the bench. Nick Nurse for Toronto only ran 3 guys off the bench. I mean, that was the first game of the season. Nick Nurse is like, nope, screw it. Because I was wondering what would happen because they lacked bench depth.
I thought he was going to play 12. I thought he was going to play all 12 guys. I never would have expected 8.
He just didn't play any of them.
I know.
Yeah. And it worked. But I'm a little bit worried about it. I think Favors, like you said, you want to put him at 28. I'm okay with that. I have him at 26. I feel a little bit more comfortable there. And if I get to him at 26 minutes, that's fine. But
here's the deal. I didn't get to him at 28. I only got 2%. So
I didn't get to him either at all, actually.
Only guy I got is Drew Holiday, and that guy did not help me out at all in the opener.
Yeah. No, I just ran a crunch while we were talking a few minutes ago, and Favors didn't come up at all. But I don't expect him to at almost 6K. So yeah, it's a fine team. I think the game should be competitive, and you should see quite a bit of scoring. I believe the total in this one is up there, right? 228, tied for the highest on the slate. But like with Melly and with a few of these guys like Alexander Walker, I don't exactly know what type of minutes they're going to see on a
Yeah,
nightly basis.
same.
So I'd probably on a 9-game slate, likely, and on a slate where we also have a decent amount of value, roll with the guys who we know what their opportunities are going to look like, and Holiday's probably going to be one of them. But I don't know how much Holiday I get here.
I got to 38% on FanDuel. There's only 26 minutes left, and they're spending 5 minutes on favors. I'm sorry, we're spending some time on the guy with the third highest ownership projection on DraftKings today.
Yeah, buddy.
It's like one of the more essential things to talk about on the entire show.
Not important, though.
No. It's only the chalk play at 5,700 on DK. Yeah, I need Drew to
That's what the show's for, pal.
Yep. I don't know what else we would talk about then. Drew Holiday, 41 minutes, 6 of 15 from the field, 13 points, 1 of 6 from 3. Yikes.
Yeah, it wasn't good, but 41 minutes is good enough for me. What was that, 36 minutes in regulation? I'm cool with that.
I trust Drew Holiday to rebound off of that.
Yeah, the bigger concern was Lonzo Ball. Like you said, Alvin Gentry clearly went with a different rotation midway through that second half and ran it till the end of regulation, and then oddly didn't go, like you said, with the guys that got him there in overtime.
Yeah,
he put Lonzo back on the floor. He put Favors back on the floor. He took Hart off, and then they ended up just having no chance at all in overtime. So who knows what that's about? But what we do know is that Ingram and Holiday are locked into those minutes regardless.
Yep.
I think with Lonzo Ball, he's not locked into those minutes. And some days you're going to get 35 from him. Other days you're going to get 23 from him.
Yeah. I agree with whoever's working the YouTube chat. Hit that like button. Let's move to Dallas. Luka Doncic.
I love Doncic. I'll tell you that much.
10K on FanDuel, 9,200 on DK, 16.7 on FantasyDraft. Another fantastic price. I have 50% Luka Doncic at 12% ownership on FanDuel right now. I
Might
love
not be
him.
enough.
I love it. I'm all over Luka for this one.
Yep.
One of my favorite plays of the day.
Because we are short on time, I prefer to spend more of my time talking about like Tim Hardaway. So I'll just say a quick piece on Luka Doncic. He's very good, and he's going to be one of the highest usage players in the league this season. He's going to be a legitimate triple-double threat every single night. And on DraftKings, he's 9,200. He should be above 10,000.
Yes, he should. I got a lot of Porzingis on the opener. I don't have that right now. 8,500 on FanDuel. That's just a really big number. 7,600 on DraftKings. Hard to find a ton of value there. He could blow that number out of the water. He's more talented than that price tag, but I think it's going to take some time for him to get there. So really just Luka is what I'm looking at, and in abundance.
That absolutely. The lack of rebounding for Porzingis was a little bit odd. I won't say it was concerning. It's only one game, but it was a little bit strange given that Maxi Kleber was your starting center, right? Yeah. It's not exactly like you had some hulking big man. It wasn't DeAndre Jordan there, sucking up all the rebounds off the boards. That wasn't the case at all. So a little bit strange to me. Porzingis only had 8 rebound opportunities. That was 5th on the team behind Finney-Smith, Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Brunson. By the way, Doncic had 13, tied for the lead. I mean, he's just crazy good.
38% usage in the opener.
Yeah, he's the top guy here, no question.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. That's all I got. I don't anticipate getting really anything else from the Dallas side.
No, I'm perfectly fine moving on.
All righty. OKC and the Wizards. 114 implied total for Oklahoma City. 106 for the Wizards. Gallinari and Gilgeous-Alexander both in the 20s in ownership on FanDuel. Gallo also in the 20s on DraftKings. On my original crunch, I got to 14% Chris Paul. Everybody else in single digits. Anything standing out to you from the Thunder here in a fantastic spot against a dreadful Wizards team?
Yeah, Paul's 8,400 on FanDuel, but 7,200 on DraftKings I just think is a really good price.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw what he did in Houston when James Harden was out. And I'm not saying you're going to get those same numbers, But come on, I like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think he's a solid player, and he's only going to get better, right? He's very young, but Danilo Gallinari is who he is. Like, we know who he is.
Yep.
He's never going to be a ridiculously high usage player. Probably settle in around 24% or so. He'll rebound. He rebounded at a 10% clip for the first time in his career last season. I just think Chris Paul is going to have an abundance of opportunities on this team. And look, 25% usage yesterday or on Wednesday. I would think that he settles in around that high 20s number, close to 30. He's going to have an assist rate, 30+%. He hasn't had an assist rate below 40% or 39% last year, but 41, 47, 53, 47, 49, 46. It's crazy. And he's on a team who the best players outside of him are Gilgeous-Alexander and Gallinari from a usage and scoring standpoint. I just think there's a ton of opportunity there to have really big games for Chris Paul, especially against the Wizards. I do like him tonight against Washington quite a bit.
I like that $7,200 price on DraftKings. I also want to point out Gilgeous-Alexander is $17 on Yahoo. That's a fantastic price for someone with a 30 plus usage rate in the opener. Took 23 shots. Paul and Gallo had 28 combined. Two rebounds and 1 assist is not the best. You don't expect those numbers to look the same the whole way, but for $17 on Yahoo, even if he does take a step back in usage, that looks like a great play.
Yeah, $17 is great. He's too close. He's too close to Chris Paul in price on DraftKings. I mean, you've got a $700 difference. There's no way I'm not going to Paul there.
Right. On the Wizards side, Beal, Bryant, Ish Smith, and Isaac Bonga are all in double digits, close to 20% on both sites. Beal, Bryant, Ish Smith, Isaac Bonga. On my crunch, the most I got of anybody, Beal and Bonga at 8%. I don't want the Wizards. I would rather be on a different piece of this. I'm not really interested in going with the field here. Ish Smith for $12 on Yahoo, I think, stands out. And if you want Bradley Beal, by all means, roster Bradley Beal.
I'm sorry. I know we don't have a lot of time, but I have to ask you, we didn't talk about Dennis Schroeder. Reason I bring this up, he did play 31 minutes in that game.
Yeah.
And when you look at the way that the rotation is breaking down, I think there's a very good chance. By the way, tough matchup against Utah. Yeah. But with Dennis Schroeder, he came in and spelled Chris Paul, and he got 31 minutes, played only a few minutes alongside Paul, who played 30. I think that comes up. But
3 points.
What's up?
He had 3 points.
Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible. Just saying, at his cheap price tag below 5K, if you're getting 30 minutes and you're running the offense for every minute that Paul's off the court and you're getting around 30, if he's coming in at no ownership, I don't think it's crazy in a much, much better matchup than we had the other day against Utah. So is it 2% right now?
Yeah. I got the 6.
Shooter. What's up?
I got the 6. So I'm cool with him as that sort of flyer.
Yeah, sure. I just didn't want to ignore him entirely.
That makes sense. Talk to me about the Wizards. Anybody at all that you want to get to? I mean, Beal clearly is a different story.
Is Beal too expensive, or do you think he's reasonable here?
I mean, I can't say that $8,600 Bradley Beal is too expensive.
Sorry, I meant $9,500 on FanDuel.
Oh, then yes.
Okay.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
I think so.
Would you rather have Drew at 87?
Yes, 100%. I would rather have Devin Booker at 88. Devin Booker is unowned right now. Beal is at 19%. I would just rather have Devin Booker on FanDuel.
Okay. And Doncic is 92 and shooting guard eligible on DraftKings. Yeah. Beal's 86, Holiday's 85. The big Andre Robertson is still out. He's still not recovered. If he comes back, you're going to have to start worrying about this defense for Oklahoma City, assuming he actually gets some minutes. But maybe he won't. Not if SGA is starting at the 2. Well, no, he'd probably start at the 3. If that's the case, then I'm worried about Beal. But this matchup, do you worry that Chris Paul is going to look to shut him down here?
No, not at all.
Me neither. I don't either. I think it's a fine spot. On FanDuel, I like him less because of the price difference than I do on DraftKings. If you wanted to throw like Doncic at the 1 and Beal at the 2, but he's not a top option of mine. Yet you should see plenty of scoring in this game. Surprised it had a sub 220 total. Beal's just going to be a high usage guy. There's nobody else on this team.
Yeah. Oh, keeping it going. Denver Nuggets, Phoenix Suns, 116 implied total for the Nuggets and the best offensive center in basketball. 105 for the Phoenix Suns. We'll start with Jokic. Not the best opener for him, but 10-8 on FanDuel, 9,300 on DraftKings, 17 on FantasyDraft. I love that price tag a lot. 47 on Yahoo. Probably not seeing DeAndre Ayton. Every post about... So Ayton is likely to be suspended. I have not seen anything that he is officially out yet for this game. Because they're still going to be...
No, I think I
have him out, but...
He's out. And he's appealing, hoping that they rescind it or lessen it.
Yeah.
He is suspended.
So is that official? Because every tweet is like, is about to be suspended, or like looking like he's suspended. It's the wording that threw me off, because if he's appealing it, then he shouldn't sit. Is facing a 25-game suspension. Is preparing an arbitration case. Like, that's weird to me that they're not saying is suspended.
I hear you. I thought the same thing, but I'm pretty certain he's out. Okay, ESPN has him officially out.
So here's the thing that's interesting to me is that they're appealing the suspension. So why would you ever sit a guy if he's not officially suspended yet?
I know. He also posted something saying he takes full responsibility for it. So it's difficult, but everywhere I'm seeing does have him out. I'm going to
I have him out as well.
I hear what you're saying, but as of now, I'm going to assume that DeAndre Ayton is not playing today.
25 games, he's out. Yes, look at ESPN. ESPN is not my source for this.
Right. No, and like I said, on ESPN he is listed out. On NBA he is listed out, but he is facing the suspension. He's out. But like you said, if you're appealing, the thing is though, I don't think it's like baseball where you can, is it like baseball where you can, or football, like where you can appeal and keep playing?
That's where I'm leading this conversation to.
I don't think it is. I don't know. I really don't know.
What I'm saying is that, like, if we found out later today that DeAndre Ayton is playing pending his appeal, that would not surprise me at all. But I'm projecting him out.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I hear you.
I wish he were in, because Jokic would smash him, because Ayton is terrible defensively. But I think that he'll find, like, Aaron Baines is a better defender than DeAndre Ayton. But Jokic is going to get a little bit of Frank Kaminsky, which seems great.
I can't imagine they'd put him at the 5. I guess they'll have to, though. Someone mentioned earlier in YouTube chat, great spot for Jokic now that Ayton's out. It's actually worse because now this game probably gets out of control so much quicker.
Yeah.
And Ayton defensively, I expect him to improve. He was a rookie last season, but he had a lot of work to do on the defensive end. Let me tell you, it was brutal.
He's really bad defensively. Great offensively.
Yeah. I mean, I think Aaron Baines is the clear value here.
Yeah, I don't have much interest in the Denver side. It's hard for me to hash it out. I didn't get to really any Jokic. I got to a little bit of Will Barton at 5,400 on FanDuel. That's mostly positional, but 9,300 for Jokic on DraftKings looks good. I can't be mad.
No, I'm not upset about that at all. I like Jokic quite a bit here, and he got into early foul trouble. And despite all of that problem, really not playing at all in the first half, still ended with 20 points and 13 rebounds, and he played 24 minutes. Come on now. That's insane.
Oh, God, people are going crazy over Ayton stuff right now.
Just, it doesn't even matter. You said you're projecting him out, so what's it matter?
I don't get it. We got to move to the Phoenix side. We're already being criticized for a Booker take because we said the game could get out of hand. We don't project blowouts. I don't care if it gets out of hand. I think Devin Booker's a fantastic play at 8,800. Nothing has changed.
If the moment you start making decisions. Wait, what is the problem here?
I said that Devin Booker was a good play. Now we were talking about how the game might get out of hand. I have 24% Devin Booker.
What I said was it has no influence on what I'm doing with Nikola Jokic, but DeAndre Ayton being out of the game doesn't help them keep it close. That doesn't mean that it has anything to do with how I'm approaching it. Listen, dude, the moment you start worrying about blowouts is a lot of these games, you'll see them end and a team lost by 15 points. And it was a 3-point game going into the fourth quarter. I mean, I don't make judgments based on games. We've said it so many times, but I guess it bears repeating early in the season. I don't make decisions based on games blowing out. And oftentimes the reason teams get torched and blown out is because the best players on the opposing team had really good games.
Yep, absolutely. So I really like Devin Booker, particularly at 4% ownership on FanDuel. That is the spot that I'm going to be higher on. I also quite like Kelly Oubre, 6,400 on FanDuel, 5,700 on DraftKings. This is another spot where small forward is just never really a spot I want to be. He's essentially unowned, so I'm certainly in for Kelly Oubre. And then center is going to be a thing for Phoenix. Aaron Baines is certainly in play at the flat minimum. It's a lot of options in terms of minimum price guys. Frank Kaminsky going to see some time. You're going to go to Baines at 3,200. He is not all that owned right now.
I would think so. Yeah. You have to get at least some of him. Yeah. And if you're just looking at from a matchup perspective, you're not like against Nikola Jokic. Ayton is far and away the best and really only guy that you can run out there and hope to have a chance at not allowing Jokic to have the biggest game of his life.
Well, we are being told that Kaminsky can defend on the perimeter, which is one of the more untrue statements I've ever read.
And if he could, what does that have to do with?
If Frank Kaminsky could defend on the perimeter, he'd play. He sucks.
He's just never been a good. Whatever. We only have 8 minutes.
I know. I can't do it.
Aaron Baines is the clear defensive option that you want in this game.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you see Jokic posting dudes up and then casually turning around, facing up and knocking down shots like he wasn't even trying? Throw Frank Kaminsky on him and see what happens.
Goodbye, Ted. I can't take you right now. Come back in 5 minutes when you don't irritate me as much. Can't stand the dude.
I think Baines is fine, though. I don't like Booker as much as you do, just based on some pricing at the same position. But I think Oubre at a bad small forward position, given that he's not getting a lot of ownership, he is definitely viable to me. He saw big minutes last time out, and I think the opportunity is going to be there. Take Ayton off the floor, and not to say that Ayton was going to be a monster usage guy. I don't think that's the case. But now you're looking at, a Rubio, Saric, Booker, Baines, and Oubre lineup. Oubre should see plenty of opportunities.
Oubre is probably my favorite play of all of the Suns. Shit, we've got 7 minutes.
Yeah, we're all right.
Kings and Blazers, 112 implied total for the Kings, 114 for the Blazers. De'Aaron Fox at 20% ownership on FanDuel, but here's what we really need to talk about. Marvin Bagley is out for a while, no less.
4 to 6 weeks.
Yes. So Rashawn Holmes
might be out too.
Yes. Rashawn Holmes is the chalk, 33% on both sites right now. Nemanja Bjelica, not getting nearly as much love. 3,700 on FanDuel, 3,600 on DraftKings. Should be the main benefactor here. I got the 38% Bjelica. He's one of my favorite plays of the day.
100% fine with it.
Lots of Harrison Barnes, too, at 5K.
Yeah, probably won't go there. I just think he's a terrible player. From a fantasy standpoint, let me be clear. Just guy produces nothing. And from a peripheral standpoint, he doesn't rebound. He doesn't dish out assists. Once in a while, he'll score 10 points. I'm cool. If Hield is out, he'll be forced to shoulder a bigger role. But I'd rather just go with Bogdanović, who can actually shoot. And I think he would probably see a lot of opportunity. So Bogdanović would be in play for me. Bjelica would be a strong play for sure. Bagley played how many minutes? Let's see. He played 28 minutes. and Bielitsa still played 21. Rashawn Holmes played 17. That will increase. Both of those guys are viable. I don't want them both in the same lineup in case one of them runs away with the minutes. But I mean, yeah, I think Bogdanovich, Bielitsa, and Holmes could all be very viable in this spot. And it's a tough matchup against Portland, but it's not impossible.
Yeah. I really like Dedmon too. And he's going unowned on FanDuel at 4,500, 19% on DK.
Dedmon's always been a good per minute guy.
Yeah, he's gonna have to play.
227 total.
He has to play. They don't have enough big men.
For sure.
I mean, Rashawn Holmes.
7 over under. I like it.
Yeah, Rashawn Holmes gets in foul trouble from time to time. Like Dedmon's actually good.
I'm with you.
I'm gonna have a lot of Sacramento. I probably have more Sacramento than almost any other team on the slate.
Are you on Fox?
I did not get much, and he is sort of the chalky piece. I'd rather have the other pieces of Sacramento tonight as of right now.
Okay. On DraftKings, where you have Chris Paul at 7,200 and Fox at 7,900, who do you prefer?
Chris Paul.
So do I.
On the Portland side, I got a lot of Zach Collins, a lot of CJ McCollum. Zach Collins on FanDuel is 5,100. I'm just not going to get away from that. He's also kind of chalky. Whiteside is 20% on DK. He's $22 on Yahoo. That's the best place for him. Do you want any of Portland?
I don't. Someone is at the front door. Can you hear that?
Yeah. You want me to close this out? You got to go get the door?
No, screw him. I don't know who it is.
Okay.
The stupid Alexa, I forgot to turn it down. I got it hooked up through that. Can be kind of annoying. You said Collins is your guy here?
Yeah, on FanDuel for 5,100. Yeah, $300 more expensive on DK, but
I think that's definitely solid. He played 30 minutes in that first game, that opener, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I like that a lot, actually. Aside from that, do I get to Lillard here? I like this spot a lot. Lillard's ownership will come into play for me because there's so many guys in this same price range that I'll be looking at. Right now on DraftKings, we have him at 8,800. I just think that's too low for him. So $8,800 for Lillard, one of the best point guards in the game. If he's half the ownership right now of Drew Holiday and half of Bradley Beal, I don't see why he would get no love against a fast-paced Sacramento team.
Yeah, I like Lillard if he's not getting any ownership. 8% right now, that seems perfectly reasonable to me.
Compared to the rest of the guys at his price, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, you want to close this out?
Let's do it, man.
We almost got there with good pacing. 111 implied total for the Lakers, 107.5 for the Jazz. I'm projecting Rondo in, which really thins out everything that's likable on the Lakers. I got a ton of Anthony Davis at 12K on FanDuel. A lot of that is positional, just not much else at power forward at the top. So I really, really like going to AD. I don't get the sense that I'll have much, if any, LeBron. I had like 12% on my first crunch. Lakers are pretty much just Anthony Davis for me.
If it wasn't for your breakfast question, your breakfast meat scrapple question, we'd have been cruising, man.
Sure.
No, I think we're both culpable. Mm-hmm. I like Anthony Davis. On FanDuel, I think you're talking about positional scarcity, right?
Yeah.
Just coming into play.
Yep.
34.5% usage in that first game. Very high. Assists were there. He's going to rebound better than he did. I mean, Anthony Davis to me is always going to be a viable option. I just don't love playing guys against Utah. So if I could get away from him on a site like DraftKings where there's a lot of high-end talent, then I'll do that. On a sites like FanDuel where you got to play two and the position might not be as deep, then I think I understand it a lot more. But on DraftKings, I probably have less, just given how deep it is at the top. And Anthony Davis's ownership right now is coming in at what, 18% on DraftKings?
Yep, 15 on FanDuel. And I don't really have much interest in anything on the Jazz. Highest owned guy on either site is Mike Conley at 10%. He shot well. He killed me, dude. I had a ton of Conley. That couldn't have gone any worse.
1 for 16.
I have like 12% Conley right now, a little bit of Jingles, but I don't really have much interest in the Utah side.
I know you got to go. I'm going to ask you this question about Mitchell and let you close it out.
Okay.
I mentioned to Dan on today's show when he asked about Mitchell because his price is cheap. What do you think? And dude, this could be a really great spot for Mitchell. But I guess the one thing here is Danny Green's a great on-ball defender. They just brought him in. Avery Bradley's a scrappy guy. They have good wing defense now.
Yeah.
I know it didn't hold up at all against the Clippers. Do you think Mitchell is cheap enough to go there at $7,700 on DraftKings?
Cheap enough, sure. I don't get the sense that I would have much, if any.
Okay. 2% projected ownership right now.
Yeah, like if I look at it, I would probably get more Kemba for $100 more.
This game could be very slow.
Yeah, that's the pace of this game is not really helpful. Two teams that aren't really looking to push the ball all that much.
Lakers actually played the slowest pace in the first day of the season. So with all the games included, sorry.
9 games up, 9 games down. We got there. Please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Coming up immediately after this. Right now, as soon as I stop it, we're going to the next show. Chris Randone and Manny Laura doing some Week 8 lineup construction. Laffy, any other thoughts?
Gerald Martin says Royce O'Neal is sneaky versus the Lakers. Chill, bro.
Perfect way to get out of here. Thank you guys for joining us. Shout out to Yahoo Sports for being the presenting sponsor. Check out Emacs Cash Game article for instructions on how to sign up. That article is free all the time. Go get it. Thank you guys for joining us. We're out of here. Bye.